still a lot of light. Oh, here we go. Good. There are always new things coming up, and SuSanA is reinventing itself. And something that is called on for long, and it's now getting more and more activity, is having regional chapters. But what are regional chapters?
Can I get the second microphone?
Okay.
So let's put up the flip chart so everyone can see. Can we shut down the beamer? Yeah. Yeah. Good. So we have a map here with 3 pins, which are supposedly the SuSanA regional chapters. Arne, could you tell us how did it all start with the SuSanA regional chapters?
Well, it started in India with Modi's campaign, and we had a situation that was similar to the funding of SuSanA, that now a lot of things will happen and maybe it's just infrastructure oriented. That was in 2015, I think. And then the second one was the West Africa, North Asia chapter, WANA or MENA. And there it was so many things going on, and maybe there's more transparency if we have a regional chapter. And now recently, Latin America is becoming active.
Mm-hmm. That sounds great, but please tell us what is the purpose of a regional chapter?
No idea. But perhaps it's because it's always said that SuSanA is too much on the global level. It's only English. Il y a quelqu'un de France et mon français est pas français. So we should have more languages. We should be closer to the regions, and an answer can well be to go to regional chapters and to work along with the regions.
Mm-hmm. And the purpose might be similar to the global SuSanA purposes, or differently?
Well, I think it's along the vision that we have, but it's then bringing the networking to the local level, and as well improving on having material in local languages and strengthening the networking on the being closer to the grassroots level.
Okay, that sounds great. But are the regional chapters networks on their own? Can only people who live in the region participate in the chapter?
No. You can be excited living in Antarctica and can be excited for LatinoSan and can be very active in the LatinoSan chapter because that's where your heart lies. But the difference actually is in any country, people who are members of SuSanA, institutions who are members of SuSanA can start to talk to each other or use the forum or whatsoever. That not automatically makes them a chapter. A regional chapter, we said, should have clear deliverables, a clear task, and should have a funding, and should be one of the so important cooperation systems, so that it clearly contributes to what SuSanA is and uses the SuSanA tools.
So I think here this is the right time that I could introduce this difficult looking SuSanA governance structure. But could you explain on, based on this governance structure, how a chapter is initiated and set up and how the funding and steering works?
Well, there are partners and institutions. They have an idea, a project idea, they secure some funding, they have clear deliverables. For example, in India it was that Argyam said that can't we have thematic discussions around aspects of sustainability linked to sanitation? This will be a contribution to the, at the moment, too infrastructure-oriented Clean India campaign. And in the end, we would have more knowledge about sustainability aspects in India. So that was a very clear-cut idea, to have a chapter running on India for 2 years and have a series of thematic discussions, have a coordinator, and then like this get the India chapter going, so that if the chapter closes, maybe because nobody is interested in it, then definitely we would have a richer material on the SuSanA website with regard to sustainability and sanitation in India. So That's the project idea. There's some funding that's given to the core group to say that it's in line with the idea of SuSanA as a whole, and there's a steering group then steering the chapter. Is that complete enough?
Does it make sense? Yes. Okay, when we have a look now at the world map, I'm wondering what are these chapters actually doing? For example, that pin. I guess that's the Latin America chapter. This one is a Latin America chapter. Manal. So is there anyone who could tell us what they are actually doing? And
just behind you, I guess.
Mintje? You?
Yes, I think that would be me. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about the Latin America chapter. This is a fact sheet. It's only 2 pages in English, not in Spanish. So you can find information on the chapter in more detail if you're interested. Just a few words. So it is coordinated by Lourdes Valenzuela. She's working for Agua Tuya. It's an organization in Bolivia. And the chapter is funded by the Swedish embassy for about 2 years now. And it only started last year. So it's a really enthusiastic steering group that is coordinating together. Well, Lourdes is coordinating, but the group is giving really good insights. And it will be launched in Costa Rica. And it will be in about 6 weeks. So the 1st to the 3rd of April, there is LatinoSan. And this will also be the official launch of the Latin America chapter. They are looking to coordinate also with OLAS, which is also a coordination platform, a regional coordination platform. So it's really great that SuSanA can cooperate with this platform. And maybe just to mention a few organizations that are in the steering group. So it's Agua Tuya, as I already mentioned. Then it's SEI from the Swedish side. It's the World Bank. It's GIZ. It's IDB and also Borda. So that's a few organizations. Would you like to know about some activities?
Yeah, like where is the chapter based? In which countries is it active?
It's active in a lot of countries in Latin America, Spanish-speaking, Portuguese-speaking countries. Also the Caribbean is involved a little bit. Yeah.
But as I understand, Lourdes is based in Bolivia.
Yeah.
And how does she work with all the different countries?
Exactly. So one activity is to identify focal points for each country, which they just started, to have a knowledge exchange across the countries and one focal point, one organization per country to be responsible. Some more activities I could tell you is to especially translate key publications into Spanish, into Portuguese, to have some more Spanish and Portuguese speaking input also on the website, in the forum, to involve this community, also have their knowledge shared in SuSanA with the global community, have some case studies, also thematic discussions. Yeah.
Nice, thank you. So we got to know this pin here, but I'm still wondering what this pin in the Red Sea is doing. Manal, could you let us know?
Yeah, good evening. I'm Manal. So this pin refers to the WANA chapter, West Asia North Africa chapter. Now we have a team which is consists of 3. We have the chapter or program coordinator. We are working as a researcher for that chapter. In addition, we have now a new colleague who will be assessing us in that chapter. And yep. Do you want to know more about?
But I heard you had great new publications also that you produced.
Yeah.
You put in a lot of efforts, no?
Yeah. Actually, we thought since there is no right now there is no SFD issued in the Arabic region or West Asia North Africa region, we thought why not translated the SFD manual to be the reference to in the future. We are planning, if we will get fund, to train some of the governmental institution how to use that manual and produce SFDs for different cities in the region. Let me say something that the Arabic region is really difficult to communicate with, especially when you are talking about the sanitation. There is a lot of challenges. When we start working on that program, there was no working plan, there is no strategy. We don't know from where to start. So we work on a clear strategy and working plan. We have now ongoing activity to work in a continuous way to have baseline assessment for SDG 6 in the region. Yep.
Great, thank you. And I'm also really happy to tell you that Manal and her colleague Lara will be at FSM and AfricaSan
Nice to meet
the
you
whole
all.
week, and you will meet them all day long at the SuSanA booth or running around. So this was the WANA chapter, and we kind of consider India to be a region on its own because it's so huge.
Hey, I wore an Indian dress so that I could talk.
Yeah, Shobhana could give us updates on the India chapter.
Yeah, as you might all know, India chapter was the first one to start, and the chapter has kind of matured on its own, and we've had more people joining the steering committee to ensure that this chapter is sustainable. So the chapter crossed its first phase that was financed by Argayam to the second phase, where Water for People stepped in and is funding the coordinator. And end of last year, we had the World Toilet Summit in Mumbai, where we launched a publication called Where There Are No Sewers. So this publication is just a very interesting photo essay on a day in the life of sanitation workers. Although manual scavenging was outlawed, we still have this practice that's existing, and this photo story captures what they do in a day, and it was done to raise awareness on the lives of these people and how we need to focus on giving better laws and conditions for sanitation workers and breaking the taboo around dirt around them. And then we have 2 thematic discussion series taking place in the forum. The first one is standards for institutionalizing the use of wastewater in irrigation. And the second TDS is on financing capital and running costs for new treatment facilities related to wastewater and sludge. So that's it on the India chapter, but I want to go back to this map because I'm going to take you on a flashback 2 days back when I was flying to Cape Town. I couldn't sleep. It was a long, exhausting flight, so I decided to watch 2 alien movies, typical Hollywood movies. And you could see that when the aliens were arriving on Earth, they were so perfect. They could position themselves on all parts of the Earth. And you see all these American NASA satellite images showing where the aliens are and their positioning, and they've managed to capture the entire world somehow. So then I thought, maybe even aliens know that they shouldn't leave no one behind. And then I'm thinking of sanitation and the regional chapters. There are some points missing here, and I think we have a point missing here. Where are we? We're in Africa, and we don't have a point here. So why is that? Can we all discuss about it? Discuss about a regional chapter for Africa?
The discussion is open now for everyone.
Okay, I can make a proposal. I think for the last 2 years, with the main support from the Zambian team, we started a city exchange between Lusaka, Kampala, and Dar es Salaam. And it's already kind of a networking, of course, character of a region, because it's East African, South African. And during our last exchange in Dar es Salaam, I think we had a feeling, what happens after this face-to-face meeting? How can we continue keeping in touch, exchanging? We need a platform to upload documents or maybe have discussions. And I think we came to the conclusion that maybe East and South African kind of chapter could work out. It's all the same language, same cultural backgrounds. People like to dance. They have the same taste of food, and they're very comfortable really to exchange. And I think if we can get a good idea how it can work, maybe from the other chapters, I'm sure there's great potential to start from where we've started, maybe get some other countries still on board, and of course open up to all the other partner institutions from the network, because so far we've really done it as GIZ within our partner countries and partners in the countries. But I think it would be great to open it up to have more input from whoever's in the region and wants to exchange.
Any other voices, ideas? Someone volunteering as regional coordinator? No. There are a few steps before that.
I've been forced to speak, so yeah. Already in within the AfricaSan movement, we have the AfricaSan International Task Force, which is made up of all these beautiful people, all these beautiful shitheads. Some people don't like to hear that word. So I think within that particular system, we can be able to start the SuSanA Africa chapter, where we can pool. There's a lot of learning we can take from the SuSanA network that can go around Africa and be very useful. How we go about it, I mean, it's one thing to have the vision. Once you have the vision, we start working on how we operationalize it. But I think it's something worth thinking about. I thought Doreen was about to say concert.
Great feedback.
Okay. I think I'm done with the mic. Great.
So having all these chapters, what happens to SuSanA then? Is like SuSanA just breaking down into 4 different chapters, or
that was the idea, yes.
So no more SuSanA?
No, actually, the chapters, and that would be as well my response to this enthusiasm. I think it would be important then to define some deliverables or to identify what are concrete steps to think that, well, if GIZ is active with a couple of programs, that's coming close to a financing mechanism, but that as well has to be stipulated. What does it actually mean? And then sort of like a project, what is the result that then strengthens the global SuSanA level? It's just a project under SuSanA. Yeah. So, and as such, I think it's a good idea if the enthusiasm is here, then to discuss during the week ahead, sit together, connect together, and describe what could be a proposal that can be presented to the core group, and as well to really say that for whom does it make sense to do it, because it will only happen if there are very concrete benefits for those who are active on the chapter. It's a good sign that if a group of programs already are having the exchange and are very happy about it, I think it's a good starting point. Answering your question.
So concretely, it means like if I go to the SuSanA webpage, I have 4 different chapters I can choose from, and then dig in to get more information about a specific project that happened in that chapter.
Well, I'm curious, what would be the project description of the Africa chapter? What they India did thematic discussions. The WANA chapter sort of border stepped ahead and said, let's finance coordinator positions, and then let's sort of take some time to make it a project with clear deliverables. And I think that should be clear from the website, sort of that what are the deliverables that the Africa chapter wants to achieve. And then if you click on that and say, well, I'm interested in that, then you will be connecting to them and supporting them.
Can I also add on that to your question, whether it's an own kind of a network on its own? No, I don't see it as a network on its own. I see it as a part of the global, of the whole SuSanA network, just like kind of comparable to the thematic working groups. So you're part of working group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you're still part of the global SuSanA. Whereas the thematic working groups, the thematics are easier to have them distributed on a global level, whereas the regional chapters, still being part of the global network, of course, people who live there or work there are more interested and have greater benefits from being part of the chapter. But you potentially could be member of all the regional chapters, all the working groups. Yeah.
Let me add to that. I'm convinced that the ultimate solutions, like we explained here, lies in the ownership within each country, or even within each municipality. While we don't have that yet, it's not enough to have just one global SuSanA network, because then it may not be perceived as being relevant for countries like Zambia or Tanzania or Kenya or wherever. We had the case for India. If it's not Indian, if it's not Indian speakers, if it's not Indian Hindi text or in other local languages, SuSanA publication may just not be perceived as being relevant to contributing to transform cities in that big continent. So as we are on our way to transform cities everywhere, the critical momentum or critical mass of spinning off activities and ownership, I think it's well placed to have to see networks, and if it's East and Southern Africa for the time being, or even other African countries, it may be a means, but not the ultimate target, but it may be a means to build on momentum and ideas and inspire people to contribute to change their own cities and their own national policy and so on. So it's like an intermediate step on the way. That's what it means to me.
Yeah, actually, I did a little survey with all the AfricaSan focal persons in the 55 countries, and there's actually demand for something like that. And in the research, small research I did, there's something called local knowledge management, which is like a kind of a knowledge management system whereby it's targeted at developing a particular region, you know. So this would be a platform for knowledge sharing and learning within the African sub-region among, you know, peers. And I, like everyone has said, I think it's a subset of the big picture, which will have more, you know, targeted solutions or projects or whatever you call it that will meet the needs within that particular region.
That for me seems to be a very good idea. If there's a demand from the 55 contact points, that they want something to happen like this, maybe around that one can design what's the service to them or what's the needs of them and who of them are ready to be more active and in which way they want to be more active. For me, that's that would link AMCA to SuSanA in a way. That for me sounds really interesting. To be good to follow up on that. Other wild questions like yours or comments?
I want to play the devil's advocate here a bit. Just want to get a reaction from you. What would happen if SuSanA ceases to exist tomorrow? I see a lot of confused faces. What would happen to the sector in general if SuSanA stops to exist tomorrow? Will it make any difference, or will it not make any difference? I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at everyone.
I don't see the possibility that it doesn't exist, because what is SuSanA? All the people in the room are kind of, or could be SuSanA, or the organization, so they would have to disappear for SuSanA to disappear.
I'm not hoping for that. But what I'm trying to say is SuSanA making a difference to the sector? Yeah, and I'm trying to look at it in a different way. If we don't exist tomorrow, will it be missed?
I will have no job then. No, seriously, sorry. Back to serious answers to that.
We need to keep your. We need to let you keep your job. But you know, in the survey that I did, which actually some people in this room were part of, there is actually no platform that is catering for the needs, knowledge needs within the continent apart from AfricaSan. Okay. So I came across something called the Mango Apps. The Mango Apps is used in the agri sector in East Africa. There's a platform called the East Africa Seed Network, where you can do almost everything. Like you can do a webinar, you can share stuff, you can, like the kind of thing that happens on SuSanA, but it happens on an app. I have it on I was added to the group actually, and some of these guys, when they heard about the Mango Apps, they thought this would be really nice for sanitation, you know. But what am I saying? What I'm saying is also that in Africa, among the sector professionals, I asked a question in Stockholm: are there people here from the ministries? These guys working from the municipalities, from the local governments, from, you know, at national, subnational level, who are part of SuSanA. It's like, and you ask these guys, what is your source of knowledge on sanitation? Sources of learning, they don't have any. They only come to the conferences. How do you access knowledge? They come to workshops and meetings. But there are huge resources on SuSanA, on the SuSanA platform that these guys can use. Perhaps it's time to think of how to customize it to their needs, where they can share and learn from one another. That's what I'm saying. And then to look at answer Preet's question, I think we need to ask ourselves questions like this for us to see the gap that we feel, or that the gap that we need to fill. But I don't have the answers.
Yes, thanks, Preet. My answer would be that now we have a container-based alliance, we have a menstrual hygiene alliance, we'll have the fecal sludge management alliance. So we're a victim of our success. When the Sustainable Sanitation Alliance started 12 years ago, it was something happening in a vacuum. Now, sanitation really made a long way, and there are many groups and alliances, WASH Alliance, I would say, which have formed similar networks, and that's a pity in the sense, or maybe it's not a pity, I don't know, but definitely the original idea of SuSanA to be a platform for all, to unify the sector, to speak with one voice, is less now because maybe the prominence of the sanitation sector has grown so much. So my answer, I wouldn't be too sure if we stop SuSanA tomorrow, if somebody will fund it again and start it again. And I think it's a really irrelevant question. So, and if it, maybe it's a good question to think that what would we miss, or some of us miss, to make sure that SuSanA should be that, what we would miss, so that we don't lose it in that sense. I think there was a beep, beep, beeps. Franzi, what does it mean?
What do you think it means?
Something is happening next.
But we can take one last question.
Okay, I'll comment.
I just don't want to elaborate too much on the discussion we were having, but it reminds me what the discussion we were having about the Women Network. What I was saying is that we should not reinvent things that already exist. Absolutely. So that's why I'm saying that we should stick on existing millions of women network and find the one where we can partner with. And I think for SuSanA, it's a relevant question, but what I will miss, I mean, SuSanA was core to my company, because I attended the SuSanA meeting in Tampere in 2014. I haven't at that time even incorporated my company. And I met some core partners with SuSanA. But nowadays I am working with many other networks, group, organization, institution, whatever. And I'm still receiving the information on SuSanA. I'm still trying to attend each meeting or conference, and I cannot find for the moment anywhere else. So it's a good thing to have this kind of question, not to spend too much time, because it's kind of schizophrenic. But still, we need to understand what the members of SuSanA are looking and expecting. And things are changing. In 12 years of time, we are not expecting the same thing from SuSanA that people were expecting at the beginning. So it's always a good thing to question ourselves about what we are willing to do, what we expect from SuSanA, and see how we can partner now with the more and more numerous other groups in sanitation.
Okay, thank you. So what you are saying is that this is as well something we can discuss over dinner, and that there might be enough time. Okay, so I think, thank you for discussing or asking about regional chapters. What are they, what's their governance, what's their governance in relation to the governance of SuSanA is really as well something that we have to dive into more deeply. And now we're coming to session 5, and session 6 already. That's wrap up and outlook. And there is the Fecal Sludge Management Conference 5, which is ahead of us. And this has a committee, actually a number of committees. And one of the most important committees, there's a chair, that's Dulai, and a co-chair, that's Tina. And so Tina, maybe some remarks to us regarding the day, regarding the link to the Fecal Sludge Management Conference.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I took a couple of notes, but my battery is dying. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long and very productive day, and yeah, we're closely approaching the end of it. I would like to thank you all for the honor to give the closing remarks, and I would like to give the acknowledgements of the AMCA Executive Secretary, Dr. Canisius, who is, I believe it's not here, but we have other representatives for the smooth cooperation. I would also like to acknowledge the hosts of this meeting, the Water Research Commission and the SuSanA Secretariat, for their warm hospitality and great organization. And last but not the least, I would like to acknowledge the support of BMZ as a key partner for AfricaSan5 and FSM5 conferences, GIZ and SuSanA Secretariat. Thank you all, and I would all invite you to give a round of applause. Now we move to the summary of the day. I would like to thank all the presenters for their active participation, and they did show us not only what the challenges are in the sector, but also how to promote innovative approaches that could positively influence the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 6. I would also like to note how exciting it is to have a partner like SuSanA that has managed to mobilize key members and organizations to come all the way to Cape Town to gather and actively participate in this initiative towards an improved knowledge exchange and dissemination. The last 2 years have been very exciting in the field of FSM. Well, at least for me. There have been a lot of changes and a lot of growth in many aspects. There have been influences of governments to integrate sustainable fuselage management in their regulations. Also, we brought more experts into the field and created a general awareness of the importance of our jobs. In India, for example, post FSM4, I've been chatting to one of the colleagues from India during the discussions early on the tables. He said, FSM is a thing now in India. So there are major influences that have been happening in the government and in the general policy implemented in the field. Another important event was in Manila that has been held in the field just a couple of weeks or a month ago, where the local government has been committed to change their regulations in order to meet the serious FSM challenges that the country currently faces. Another example is the Reinvented Toilet Expo that was held in China just 3 or 4 months ago. This event not only influenced the overall sanitation perception of the government of the world's largest population, but also created a great awareness to the general public of the importance of what we do. Even Bill Gates himself stood up on the podium holding a jar with human feces, just to show that that's not a taboo anymore. The president of South Africa recently addressed during his State of the Nation that it's not all about flushing, and actually encourage the development of sustainable sanitation solutions which are waterless. The FSM sector is evolving. It is not seen only as toilets and feces, what we have been used to before. It is rather perceived as an exciting market space, offering new business opportunities, a trend for continuous innovations, resource recovery and education, where the role of partnerships between different stakeholders and organizations is more important than ever. I would like to express my excitement about the formation of a new group, Women in Sanitation, and I would like to say that this initiative has been brewing for a long time, and today we can finally announce that this is already happening. I know that there are a lot of other groups in the field of engineering, science, but in the field of sanitation, we don't have such a group. And we as women need to talk about our own issues sometimes. So for that, I'm really excited. Another interesting partnership was formed last year. This is the formation of a new specialist group on non-sewer sanitation through the International Water Association. This is the first time the IWA is excited to promote decentralized sanitation solutions and FSM as a part of the city-wide sanitation chain. So for this, I take it as a massive step forward. And another very important step, we recently had the birth of the Fecal Sludge Management Alliance. It took exactly 9 months to give the birth of our newborn baby. So I'm not going to speak about it now because we have some announcements during the conference, but particularly for this, we're very excited. A lot of changes are coming along the way. So you can see that the FSM is a very dynamic space, offering new and continuously evolving initiatives. And with this, I would just like to finish off with the outlook for another exciting week that is coming. Ahead, AfricaSan5 and the FSM5 conference. This is the first time of two organizations that are joining forces to deliver a unique, synergetic program that combines the political will of AfricaSan along with the technical, practical, and academic experience of the FSM conference. This conference will focus on practical solutions to sustainably manage the whole non-sewage sanitation service chain, covering the toilet, containment, emptying, transport, treatment, and reuse as an essential component of citywide urban sanitation services. The focus of the conference is to demonstrate fecal sludge management as a utility service change that can be structured and regulated by the government, delivered in partnership with private service providers, and organized to attract investment from government, development partners, commercial banks, and private entities. And last, I would like to mention the FSM Challenges that are taking place during the conference. That's an initiative that started from FSM4, and we continue with this because we would like to acknowledge specific groups in the sector. The first one is the Skills Challenge, aiming at recognition of the pit emptying contractors that do one of the most important jobs in the field, and yet they're not fully recognized, particularly when we speak about conference events. The second one is the University Challenge that give recognition to the bright young postgraduate students that are the future of the FSM, and some of them are even the leaders, the future leaders of the sector. The SuSanA meeting and agenda has prepared us to reflect all these important issues, and a lot of them need to be addressed. And I believe this should be the start of a close, meaningful cooperation between SuSanA, FSM Alliance, and the AMCAO Secretariat. Thank you.
Left. Oh, we have an evaluation. Okay, so then let's do the evaluation. I'm very curious.
You'll need to use your phones for the evaluation, so I hope you're connected to Wi-Fi. If not, the password should be on the table. The Wi-Fi is called WRC conference, and the password is right there on the screen. If you're not connected and need a minute, please let me know.
Lass das mal das. Genau.
We put the wrong link, 1 second.
So if you're connected, please go to www.menti.com. And we have two subsections in the evaluation. First, we want to know how you felt about the meeting. And a second would be more on what can we do as we move forward. So you can go to menti.com and type in the code. So as soon as you've entered the code, you'd be able to vote. The code is 760581. It's right on top. Okay. So the first question is, how did you like the meeting? Because we're always trying to improve the SuSanA meeting so that it's productive, that all of you are here and we get the most out of it. So we just need to know if we did a good job. I was hoping someone would say bad. I would have said bad because there was no vegan food. Yeah, I think we're almost through. Probably the last ones are out voting. So 23 of you said excellent, 19 said good, 1 said okay, and 0 bad. Okay, then we can sleep well tonight, Francisca. So moving on to the next question. What did you like most about the meeting? So you can just type in 2 words, any 2 words, just 2 words about the meeting. Okay, I can see words coming. So I think the key here is quite obvious. Networking, and it's informative, and we're talking about interacting with each other, exchanging, connecting. Shithead. So we're all a bunch of shitheads here. That's a great thing. And there's a lot of energy, and we're talking about a platform, lively, ideas are blooming, and then we're talking about the entire world, so it's a global meeting. And digital approaches. Yay, someone finally said it. We're actually using a digital approach here. Time management. So were we on time? Was that a positive one or on a negative level? Group discussions. Yes. Friends. Yay, we're all sanitation friends. Finally, someone said it. World Café probably was because it was good. What did you like? Yeah. Many people like the World Café, and then smart, free. Yeah, it's free. The SuSanA meeting is free. The content, and then the diversity. Yes, someone mentioned diversity. Someone mentioned, did I miss anything else? Atmosphere. The atmosphere was good. The food was good. So looks like someone had a different opinion. So thank you all for these words. We feel really happy about it. And I would now ask you to just refresh and type the second code inside so that we can go to the next phase of the evaluation. So the next code is 628495. Yeah, you go back to menti.com, and then you type in 628495. Six 628495. So do you have any improvements or suggestions for future meetings? I can see some answers already there. More opportunities for small group discussions. So something more like having more world cafes. I think we've yeah. And then we have more time for feedback on presentations, bigger venue, okay? More time should be allocated, 2 days and not just one, more energizers, mix of outdoor and indoor. It's beautiful sun outside. Yeah. Open the windows, please. Yes, we will. The next time. Maybe the meeting should go over a day and a half and not just 1 day, okay? More time on the World Cafe, yes. More than 1 day needed, more time for feedback on presentations. That's something I already said. And time management, and the World Cafe table should have fewer tables or breakaway sessions. It was a bit noisy. Keep the interactive formats which allow many people to voice their opinion. Keep the day short. More successful cases of sustainable sanitation. More networking opportunities, less presentations. Need to discuss increasing time. Okay, French and probably many other languages. Less World Cafe, okay. The person was probably upset because we didn't have coffee at the table. More case studies, more time for discussion, more time, less presentations and more focused group discussions, field visits, okay. Professional speed dating to get to know each other, not longer. Share a list of, oh, it disappeared. Okay, share a list of participants after the meeting. Yes, we do that usually. I think that's it. I just would like to give a short feedback. Usually the meetings were much longer, much more packed with presentations, and that's exactly why we decided to have more interactive sessions, and exactly why you had the World Cafe this time. And only 1 day, because we don't do SuSanA meetings like independently. It's not an independent event. It's always anchored within bigger conferences where people come so that they don't have to travel. And we make use of the opportunity that that we're in a destination together already, and that's why we limit it to 1 day, because I'm sure it's going to be so exhausting with the whole week of AfricaSan and FSM5, and that's exactly why we limit it to 1 day. So we can go to the next question now. The last question was a short evaluation. So how would you or your organization like to engage with SuSanA? How do you see yourself in a network like SuSanA? Answer is possible, only one answer is possible, so try to pick the one you would most relate with. So we have some interesting results here. The huge chunk there is working group activities. And so people would like to get more involved in the working groups, which is really good because we're trying to revive and make the working groups more active in the coming years. And then I see share knowledge products as the next biggest chunk. Yes, sharing knowledge products within SuSanA is actually very easy. You could, when you create an account, you also can, as partners, you can also populate the library, you can upload case studies, you can participate in the discussion forums, or if you have any webinar that you want to conduct, just stay in touch with the Secretariat, and we would support you in any knowledge sharing activity that you're interested in. And then the next one says case studies. Yes, case studies have actually proved to be a very effective tool. In the market study we conducted, most people said that they like to see concise information in a short way, and case studies were rated one of the most used products on SuSanA. So if you would like to do a case study, get in touch with the Secretariat and we will support you, and we compile case studies in an organized way so that it can be easily found on the website. And then present work in meetings. I think we will definitely try to open the SuSanA meeting much more so that and have an open call for presentations where everybody can participate under different themes for the meeting. And then regional chapter steering. I'm really happy that many organizations would like to get involved in it. Yes, as long as you have the interest and there is some concrete products you want to showcase out of a regional chapter, it is possible. And forum moderation, yeah, or contribution, somebody is interested in it. We're very happy about that. The forum was funded extensively by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for the past few years, and now we're looking for more forum moderators or ways to keep the forum running in a sustainable way. So we would be very glad to accept or any kind of interest. So I think that's it. We can wrap up. So I'll just hand over to Anna so that he can give you more updates on the week ahead and our lovely dinner later.
Okay, thanks. And maybe I'm always surprised about all the innovation which is happening here. Give them a hand. Surprising me with Mentimeters, having first time a World Café. Okay, so there are some things happening during the week. You can read them there, and I think they're as well on your on the thing on your table. There are meetings like the Sanitation in Small Towns from the Cities Group. Then on Wednesday, there's Achieving Universal Access to Wash in Schools. There's a working group meeting sort of directly after that, so that has proven to be a very interesting format to have an official meeting, but then continue with a working group meeting. There's a working group meeting on cities in the afternoon of Wednesday, but there's as well on Thursday, there's a working group meeting, chat capacity development at the Village Idiot Restaurant, which I find it's a great name for a restaurant. And there's the SuSanA Mingle, which is on Tuesday at 16 hours, and I think that's another, bring some people there, introduce them to SuSanA, and I think there'll be short presentations and updates what SuSanA is doing, and I think it would be good if we can celebrate and be together there. That's the speed dating that was asked by some people. And I think that's it. There's another slide. Okay, so then, yes. That's where that's as well on the leaflet on the table. Maybe the group can walk, or some of the group would like to walk together. It's a 20 minutes walk. And there's the Mama Africa, and there we can have sort of the dinner, and some music is there, and we can do all the discussions which could not fit into the day. Yes, yes, yes. Some are arriving during the day and might only make it there. the suggestion earlier that one day is not enough, there was a tradition on the Friday before to already have a dinner, so that we can all come together, and then on Saturday have the meeting, and so that was nearly then 1.5 days. Okay, but this is what happens at 19 hours. Thanks, Tina, to your final remarks. Thank you to having the idea, or to underlining the idea, to connect the FSM series and AMCAO and SuSanA in the future. I think that's something we should follow up. Thanks to all of you of being here. Thanks to the Secretariat doing such a miracle again, and WRC to hosting this. That was as well really important. Enjoy the evening, and the 27th SuSanA meeting is formally closed.